with y'all, baby. It's DeAndre McDonald.
Out of here, multiverse version of me. This is your man Dre Mac. The real question is, are you ready? Today's video, I'm going to talk about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Of course, this is a spoiler warning because I'm about to get into some details of the movie. I'm not going to do a breakdown. This is just really a review of everything I love about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go. All right, we pick up the events of Across the Spider-Verse 14 months from the events of Enter the Spider-Verse, which we get to see Miles grow up, we get to see him as Spider-Man. But to start off this movie, we're getting everything from Gwen's point of view. Why? She's actually foretelling the whole entire movie and we didn't even know it. We get real good glimpse of what the relationship between Miles and Gwen is, and we get her backstory. Why is her backstory so important? Well, you see why the relationship between her and Miles is so important. And B, she's telling us the whole entire story, pitching us to get into the movie way before we even know what the movie is, which is good. It actually shows us a writing detail that is long lost by foretelling actually what's going to happen in the movie by a character's point of view, and allowing us, the watcher, to actually watch the events play out. By the end of the movie, we understand now why the beginning and the end is so important. So we get to Miles' story, and this is what's the interesting thing about Miles' story. I made a video about the 5 things I kind of wanted to see in Across the Spider-Verse, and one of them was Miles' ego going to be the real villain of the film. Even though we get an antagonist like the Spot, even some people could call Miguel O'Hara an antagonist. Actually, it's Miles' ego. Miles' ego allowed the Spot to kind of get pissed off because you didn't treat this dude seriously. You laughed at him, you joked around with this guy instead of actually finding out what this guy really wants. And the twist of fate, this is the guy that got hit with the bagel in Enter the Spider-Verse. This is the guy that you created. In contrast, which makes it very good writing and very good storytelling, in contrast, this guy that you hit with the bagel is the same guy that opened up the portal, and the collider that got the number 42 spider to bite you. That was supposed to bite somebody in another universe. So in a twist of fate, you guys kind of created each other, which is a good duality, but it's even a better duality with Miles, which we'll get to in a moment. The thing about the Spot being the antagonist of this movie, dimension hopping. We see it. He hops to a Lego universe and goes and sees the Daily Bugle. He hops to Mrs. Chinverse in the Venomverse. The cool thing about this, I said in my top 5, will they be able to go to the Venomverse, or is Venom going to be tied into this universe? And he is. And not only is Venom tied to this, Lego Spider-Man tied to this, the MCU is now tied to this. You see the branch that you see in Loki, and we've seen it in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, the branch of the sacred timeline, and it's unraveling, and that's what we get to see in here. And the cool thing is, Sony did it better. And that's a crazy thing to actually say. Lord and Miller should have their props about making this multiverse feel authentic. And by going into just as simple as a Lego universe, something that I felt like Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness should have went into some of the what if, universe, or some of these other universes. Maybe, just maybe, that will be top tier. But this what makes the story so good is because they use a trope as a multiverse and gave us the multiverse. Absolutely incredible. That's why the duality of these characters with Miles Morales and the Spot is so important. He gets to travel the multiverse. Miles got to try to fight him and stop him, and then we get to see Moonbatten in a couple other places. So this is amazing, y'all. Let me get to some of the standout characters that I really liked in this movie. Miguel O'Hara. What the cool thing about Miguel O'Hara and the way that they portrayed his character in this movie, he's basically Batman. He is Batman because he is behind this structure that he created because he wanted to be able to You know, go and get some of the variants or the anomalies is what he calls them, that didn't need to be in other universes, and send them back to the right universe. This is where you see a lot of cameos. Donald Glover cameos in this movie is the Prowler, Aaron Davis, and we're trying to figure out, is that the Aaron Davis for the MCU, which was introduced in Spider-Man Homecoming. One of the greatest cameos that I've ever seen, and what makes it so good, it didn't take away from the actual movie. Miguel O'Hara can still tell his story. Miguel O'Hara, you get to see him go into another universe that he wasn't supposed to be in anyway, because it was an anomaly. Take care of a kid, because that Miguel O'Hara in that universe died, and try to take care of a daughter that he never had, and all of it goes to hell. And that is a great point of this movie. And Miguel O'Hara is, as much as they think as he's the antagonist, one of the co-antagonists of this movie, actually he and the Spot believe what they're doing is right. You took something from me, things have been taken away from me, I'm trying to fix it the best way possible, and if somebody dies, somebody dies. That is a great duality throughout all of this, because it counteracts Miles. Miguel O'Hara is trying to say, hey, if it dies, it dies. It's part of the sacred timeline. Miles is saying, well, I can fix it. All Spider-Man can fix it. And this is the first time he actually gets to see all of Spider-Man's, you know, the tragic story which Miguel tells him. So Miguel O'Hara, chef's kiss on how they portrayed this character in this movie. Jessica Drew. Now, Jessica Drew is introduced in this movie, and the cool thing is that she's supposed to be the mentor for Gwen Stacy's Spider-Woman, because she's also Spider-Woman. Being pregnant and being able to fight, trust me, I know some pregnant women who could get down for y'all people to say that pregnant women couldn't fight. Y'all crazy, because I know a couple that falls on you. But the cool thing is that she is a mentor, but I didn't see a lot of mentor. What I did see is a lot of doing and not shown. I mean, you know, a lot of her just doing it and being like, hey, just do as I do and not as I say, I guess, you know. But her character is really good, kind of like a mother figure, trying to be tough love and just trying to go with the status quo. And by the end of the movie, we're probably going to find out that what they're saying is actually right. We have to stop these anomalies, and the things that are going on with Miles, we're going to have to let things play out, which is going to be a hard realization for anybody. But Spider-Man fans already know that Spider-Man Peter Parker's life is hell. So there's nothing different from tragedy or whatever that Miles is going to probably have to face. And we get to see that. And Jessica Drew is a big part of that story, which is awesome. Gwen Stacy. What makes this version of Gwen Stacy a little bit different from her introduction to Into the Spider-Verse? Because we actually get to see her backstory in its full totality and why it's so important to protect Miles. You know, and the cool thing is that they didn't make it where she was like in love with Miles and she can't, you know, live her life without Miles. It was really just because she has no friends and she has no one to, you know, to have those experiences with of being Spider-Man. But the ones that she met, especially Miles, since they were roughly around the same age, I think she may be a little bit older than him by like maybe a year or a few months, but that is something that we're going to see play out in the next installment when she's back gathering that team. You know, we're getting to see the team that she's gathering because she cares about Miles, not just as a friend. She just needs someone to talk to, and we get to see that. And there's some slow moments in here where it's just her and Miles talking like human beings, and I love that about this movie. The Spy. Now, again, this is the guy that got hit with the bagel in the last movie, but it's still a captivating story. Once you find out the research they was trying to do was to open up the collider, and the spider came down, and they were researching this information, and that spider that bit Miles came from alchemists from another dimension. And spoiler warning, it wasn't supposed to bite the Miles of the 1610 universe. It was supposed to bite the Miles from the 42 universe. And before that can actually happen, the spider went through the collider. And with that story being told and how the collider blew up, because again, they're trying to stop the Kingpin and Wilson Fisk, so they're trying to do the best they can as heroes. All the spider people, it wasn't just Miles, it was all of them. But I guess since Miles hit him with the bagel, he like, you know what, it's on site. And again, still captivated. But if Miles didn't treat him just like somebody just secondary or whatever, because you don't know what kind of power that they have. So if someone was to happen to die on his watch because he was so careless for this villain, is it not Miles' fault for treating him the way that he did? That's what's great about this movie. We have to take everybody seriously. And the Spot started off as a very funny character and got way more serious at the end, and it was beautiful. Spider-Man India, Papakar from Mumbai. We actually get to see his universe and his version of Manhattan and Mumbai kind of mixed together. And again, his introduction, he's played by the guy who plays Dopinder from the Deadpool movies. He was hilarious. I didn't know that chai means tea, you know, so that joke was hilarious. He's coming back for the second movie. He's part of Gwen's new elite team to go find Miles. Again, this is something I can't wait. And if you really paid attention, everybody she's gathering, if they go to Earth 42, they have the Sinister Six cartel in that universe. So again, I can't wait for it to all go down. Spider-Punk. Now, this is probably one of the coolest adaptations of taking a character from the comics and putting them into even cartoon. I know, you know, he's not going into live action, but the way that they did him, kind of like UK style band art, plus like you're taking, you know, stuff out of like newspapers and magazines and cutting them. Everything about Hubie Brown was so dope, and one of the smartest dudes in here. He's like, you know, it is voiced by Daniel Kaluuya, who also, you know, has played in Get Out and a lot of other movies. Amazing. It's one of the smartest dudes in the movie, because he's like, I'm not sticking with the establishment. That was a poor, bad, boo, that London accent, that UK accent. But he's not part of the establishment, and the whole time he was getting little items and stuff from here and there to be able to build something, because he knew Miguel O'Hara was going to turn on him. And he was like, oh, that's why I quit. You know what I mean? But he already had one of the time dimension devices that you could be able to go through each dimension. He made one himself. So, man, it wasn't like he was in the movie like a whole lot. Just the small scenes it was in took the cake. He was so incredibly dope. Miles Morales. And this is one of the reasons why I was saving Miles Morales for the end. There is some very touching moments, because I'm not going to go through every single character, like, you know, Captain Morales, which is actually not supposed to be called Captain Morales in this movie. He's supposed to be Captain Davis. You know what I mean? Because it's Rio Morales is his mother, but that's for another day. Anyway, there is some touching moments that he have with his parents. And as a parent myself, I understand this. You're going to have to let your child grow up. And also at the same time, as a child, because we've all been children before, there's certain things of our parents that we're going to have to listen to and be able to understand their point of view, but they're going to have to understand our point of view is letting us just grow up and become the people that we're trying to be. Trying to control all the situation stuff does nothing but hinder that. And there's some moments where you find out the reason why Miles decided to have his ego the way it is, when your parents are trying to shelter you and try to do the best, because this world is messed up. And we go to Earth 42 and see how badly the flip side of this can be. Yes, there's going to be some things that you're going to have to allow your kids to be able to do, to be able to grow, to be able to show himself, you know, in a manner where, you know, understand these things. We love you, but you're going to have to grow, and we're going to have to let you grow and grow up. And again, we've seen this character from the first movie to now grow up. He was kind of a little bitty kid, kind of, you know, and if this was a year and a half now and he was 15, he had to be like 13 when he first became Spider-Man. And now he's 16, you know, going on 17, got a little height on him. You know, he's feeling himself. He wants to grow, and we're going to have to allow him to grow. And I love the fact that they took this time out to just let things breathe, but let them talk like human beings. And we got to see that with his mother. You know, him and his mother have an intimate conversation about him liking a girl, you know, which is common for kids around that age. And also something that he needed to talk to with his father, but he did it as Spider-Man. And then at the end of the movie, you get to find out that, you know, his dad was quoting everything that Miles was saying to him as Spider-Man, you know, in the final, you know, one of the final portions of the film, you know, about letting him spread his wings, man. So these are things that I love about this movie, because it takes time to allow the characters to be not just characters, to be human beings. The conversation with Gwen, you know, towards the end of the movie was awesome when they went to go look for Miles. So these are things that I loved about this, and it allows the character of Miles to grow and understand his faults with his ego, because he gets to see his alternate self, you know, in Earth 42 and what it could be like, you know, growing up with your Uncle Aaron, and now because your dad died, you're the Prowler. You're the monster that you tried to stop your Uncle Aaron being. That's the duality of it, and I love this about this movie. Oh, there's a lot of cameos by a lot of Spider people, a lot of different, and I'm not going to go do all of that because I don't have the manpower all the time to do breakdowns of every single Spider-Man for that. It's just me. So, you know, I'm not going to go into all of that, but what I did like about the cameos in this, especially like I said, the Donald Glover cameo was amazing, is because it did not take away from the overarching story. Just because we have all these different Spider-Men and Spider-Women in this movie, you know, Mayday Parker, you know, even, you know, Peter B. Parker coming back from the first movie, it still does not take away from Miles' story. And that's the great thing about storytelling. Gwen's story kicked it off, but it didn't overshadow, you know, the 2 hours of movie that we got for Miles. It was just enough so you understand characters' motivation. And that's what I like about this movie. You just don't have cameos just for cameos. If the cameos make sense, yes. But if more movies, MCU, and I'm looking at you, do it like that, man, you're going to have people more on board with this than ever before. And that is an awesome start. Some of the complaints that I've heard about this movie is that the movie slows down and it needs to be tighter in editing. The only problem that I see with that, because I personally see this as the perfect movie. Not only is the color scheme from when you're in Gwen's universe and the pastel colors and the blue that's on her to actually represent depression, to the pink representing her happiness or her closure, to Miles' universe in Earth 42 with the green and black and red and blue tones to it. You know, there's a lot in this movie visually that can be good, but the great thing about this movie is the slow down parts, because you have to have these characters interact with each other, not in a cartoonish type of way, not in just a character type of way, but in a human aspect. And when you have those human aspect moments where characters are just talking and trying to understand each other, and they're frustrated and they're happy, and then when they express that, you need that. If it was just action, it'd be cool, but it'd be another Fast and the Furious movie. So you need those moments. So a lot of people was complaining about the editing and it needs to be tighter, and this part was kind of slow. Understand the overarching story and why those little small moments is so important in storytelling. With Miles seeing his alternate self as the Prowler in Earth 42, what does that do for Miles? Or is Miles going to be able to learn from his alternate universe self? Are they going to fight? It's kind of like what they did in the comics, because in the comics, Ultimatum is an alternate version of Miles from the 616 universe, who actually becomes a villain. So is it going to be something in that vein, or are we going to see, you know, that Miles take over for a while, you know, understand his dad? What are we going to see? Those are some of the things that I kind of want to see in this next installment in Beyond the Spider-Verse. Also, where it's going to set up as far as the new, you know, is Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man going to show up? Is Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man the live action version? I know we've seen him in the clips, you know, in the little small portions where you see, you know, Miguel O'Hara talking about things that happened in Spider-Man history. We see Andrew Garfield and we see Tobey Maguire's story in there. Are they going to come in live action? Is Tom Holland's Spider-Man going to come up in live action? Those are the things I want to see. Will they team up to fight, you know, this new Prowler Miles Morales, which looks dope? And I like someone pointed out my TikTok about his Jordans. I pointed out in my TikTok video on my short about the Miles Morales chapter 1s. I want to see if they're going to do that shoe, if Nike actually going to put that shoe as far as like chapter 2, because those things are dope. But you know, I just things that I want to see, and I'm kind of really excited about next year. These are my thoughts on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Make sure to put it in the comment section. I absolutely love this movie. I believe this is a 10 out of 10. One of the best movies I've seen all year. I'm still hyped on it. I've seen it multiple times, and I can't wait to see this again when it comes to digital, you know, in home display. I mean, I'm just amazed at how well this movie was made. But what did you guys think about it? Are you just excited you know, as I am about this movie? Again, make sure to put it in the comment section. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell notification so you never miss one of my videos. Until next time, I'll holler at you guys later. Peace and vibe high, y'all. Y'all have a good rest of your day.